Welcome into this Monday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford studio this afternoon around 1 o'clock as we are hitting the record button. There was no media op today, however, as Ole Miss football remains paused due to COVID issues. So Lane Kiffin was not available today at noon. They are saying his next availability will be his normally scheduled appearance on Wednesday. So we will know more then, maybe tonight. I don't really know as far as status for the game. We'll talk about that a little bit as the day moves on. But, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if there's no announcement tonight, my assumption is that it's tentatively on.
And I think that's the case as of now.
I do too. I heard all the people talking about it this weekend. And
some players do not believe they will play, but players are just guessing and whatever. There's no real, hey – a lot of times fans will freak out and go, oh, my God, well, if he said that, I mean, they're just sort of speculating.
Well, look, it's the dirty little secret is that the 53 rule changed.
It did.
That's no longer being enforced.
And you can't use Vanderbilt as a reason for later in the week last week because that had nothing to do with COVID. So that is the thing, too, where I saw that somewhere it was like, hey, well, they canceled then. I'm not saying you can't cancel as the week goes on, but that's not a precedent-setting situation. So.
No, that's a deal the league's got to deal with. I mean, I don't know what the league's going to do with Vanderbilt. I mean, I'm just telling you. There's a lot of people around that. I know it gets people, for whatever reason, this triggers people. They weren't going to get on the plane Friday.
Well, they were below their numbers at certain positions.
Well,
that was true.
They were way below.
That's not wrong.
So they've got some issues there. They've got 2 games scheduled to be played, and I don't think Vanderbilt thinks they're playing.
Go up, and I went down a little bit. So anyway, we'll discuss that and more. We'll tell you about the Oxford Exxon there on Highway 6 West in Oxford. Stop in any blue sky location in Mississippi up and down I-55 and other places as well. Get the Speed Pass Plus app, download it, use it. It's an efficient way to pay right there at the pump on your smart device. You get points in the process. You save money. A lot of different ways can help you out there by downloading the Speed Pass Plus app and using it at all blue sky locations here in Oxford locally. The lunch special, $5.69, every single day. 2 sides bread, a 32-ounce drink, and more. Stop in the hot case, get some barbecue, get some chicken, all there at the Oxford Exxon there on Highway 6. And again, coming from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done. And that is hop into a Clark Ford. You'll love the service. You'll love the product. Corey wants to be your car guy. He wants to be your truck guy. He'll prove it to you, though. Today is not the day to call and ask for Corey because he's in Hattiesburg at his friend Will Hall's ceremony. So, yeah. But call tomorrow. You get a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Guests will join us this week on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square is not open during the week because kids are gone. So be sort of silly, but it'll be open this weekend. Be a great place to hang out, watch what I hope is Ole Miss and Texas A&M Saturday night. All the games leading up to that, games on Friday as well. And then, of course, the NFL on Sunday. Be a great place to hang out. Drink specials, burgers, po' boys, catfish, all that stuff there at Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford.
Yeah, we need to get our rest because it could be a late night. 7 o'clock start on Saturday. Yep. The post game could go for quite a bit. So that's one that'll get over into Sunday before it is done, assuming it happens.
So you want to hear crazy on this?
Sure.
A lot of times the YouTube will the stream will get slow and it'll tell me that the bit rate is too low.
I see that. Yeah, I always see that.
Well, today it's telling me the bit rate is too high.
Neal is very happy with his internet service today. You do not hear that much here in the Clark Ford studio throughout the years when we thought that Mac South was a drug front all the way to now. Although we're pretty proud of Mac South, too, these days.
Oh, they've done a good job. They've done a good job.
Neal thinks there's a new king in town. So
it's potential, but it's too early to say. Right now it is adjusted to what it says is excellent, which is what you're looking for.
You want excellent.
Excellent's good.
Yeah, I've seen nothing but a little green dot here, so everything's all good. They appear to be very happy with us at the moment.
Yeah, so it's supposedly adjust on the fly, but Yeah, pretty interesting.
So as Neal said, Ole Miss and Texas A&M scheduled for Saturday. Apparently, we knew more than the Tennessee Student Union, so that was good. They are playing A&M this Saturday as long as all COVID issues are squared away, and maybe even if they're not, frankly, because they're just trying to get games in and they're trying to get 71 of 71 because, look, Greg Sankey's very aware of what the feather in the cap would look like if they can go 71 for 71.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's
that's
a huge, hey, let me pat myself on the back and tell you all about how we got 71 for 71.
Well, it's also, let's be real. Let's just say that A&M goes 9-1.
Yeah, sure.
Beats Ole Miss, beats Tennessee. Certainly they're a double-digit favorite against Ole Miss. They'll be a double-digit favorite against Tennessee.
Yeah.
But A&M goes 9-1, and Ohio State's sitting over there at 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Sankey would love to be able to go, you know what? You arrogant sons of bitches wanted to cancel the whole damn thing. That's what you wanted to do. You wanted us to cancel the whole damn thing. We didn't. We set up a schedule, conference only. We set up a schedule. We built in off weeks. We extended stuff. We knew we'd have problems, and we did. We knew we'd have postponements, and we did. We knew we might have to shuffle games, and we did. But you know what? We did it. You said it couldn't be done. Ta-da! And Texas A&M deserves the 4 spot.
They want to turn this into a Texas A&M versus Clemson conversation at the absolute worst. And frankly, there's probably just room for all of them. So,
I mean, listen.
Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, A&M is at least a viable possibility at this point.
Sure. I think Greg Sankey would be thrilled with that.
The Pac-12 sucks. Forget them. Big 12's out.
But he would love to say the same thing to the Pac-12 if USC's over there going, No, man. You guys waited till November to start.
And you can make one of the one-loss teams the 3 seed to make sure you don't play the same teams twice in the first round.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All good.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You can make A&M the 3.
Yeah.
And make whoever was going to be the 3 the 4. And
Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, A&M.
Yeah. Let them play.
Notre Dame, A&M would at least be a slobber knocker.
It'd be a good game.
Yeah, sure.
Alabama's going to beat the hell out of anybody they play.
Yeah, I mean A&M is not going to win the national title. They have flaws. They're not great.
Yeah, and this isn't an argument about that. My point is what Sankey would love to be able to say. Now he's going to have to adjust this Vanderbilt thingy.
You got to get 2 more games in with the doors.
I don't know how that's going to work, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, I do, but some people are going to have to back off a stance, and I don't know that stance is back-offable at this point. But yeah,
with lame duck coach, no leadership, the whole deal. Yeah, I mean it's sap. I mean, but yeah, I mean it's just. The
backup punter's been practicing kicking.
Oh really? Just in case.
Well,
whatever's going on.
I think people have seen. I think people have said, "Hey, there's a solution here where this doesn't have to be a circus."
Sure.
Where frankly, she can be she came and bailed us out that one time, thanks to her.
Yeah. Now let's move on.
Football teams are funny about adding somebody from outside the football team 8 weeks. And in this case, I mean, God, they started in June. You've gotten this far together.
There's a tribal mentality that makes sense out there.
You've gone this far together. Think of how many times a football team is told, hey, I saw Tom Allen doing it the other day. Mm-hmm. Earmuffs and blinders. Earmuffs and blinders. It's working at Indiana.
Yeah.
If you were to bring in some outsider at Indiana today and go, ladies and gentlemen, your new punter. They'd be like, we already have a punter.
Yeah.
And we got a backup punter.
Yeah.
That's what they would say.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be about.
I've been out here with Dan since June.
He's been out here with us since June.
Yeah.
So we'll ride with him. Because that's your mentality this late in the deal. This isn't the trade deadline where everyone knows it's part of the deal. That if you're a Major League Baseball season, July the 31st, the locker room could change.
Sure.
This isn't that.
The path to that this week, however, is getting these games in December 12th. You've got Alabama against Arkansas. That is an 11 a.m. start on ESPN. So Alabama will come right out of game day. We always tell you that's a very important spot to ESPN. They'll put Bama there against the Hogs. Georgia at Missouri, 11 a.m. SEC Network. So they get relegated because
that's a good game.
It's not a bad game.
It's not a bad
Two
game.
different styles there. That's interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I don't even know. Maybe you already have it. We'll look at lines in a minute.
I couldn't find that line. There were so many lines that were
because they had the
unavailable.
old schedule still in. Vegas had not updated to the SEC schedule, but I can find a couple places I think where they are. It's where I found the A&M line, so I'll look in a minute when
I searched
we're getting into that.
everywhere this morning.
Tennessee at Vanderbilt is, as of now, scheduled for Saturday. That is a 3 p.m. start on SEC Network. The time slot where they tell you just to go out back and shoot yourself, pretty much.
Yep.
That's what 3 p.m. on the SEC Network is. LSU at Florida, 6 o'clock on ESPN. You got to put somebody there. Auburn at Mississippi State is a 6:30 start on SEC Network, so a little bit of a relegated status there as well. And then Ole Miss and A&M, 7 o'clock on CBS. Am I wrong here? CBS making that their game, that means they think they're playing because they wouldn't waste that time slot on a game that was 50-50. Or at least that they expected couldn't get played.
No, not if they thought.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they could put LSU Florida in that spot.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
I mean,
East champions, blah, blah, blah.
Well,
It's
my
all
friend
good.
in
Yeah.
my friend in Dubuque sees those two uniforms and he goes,
That's what I'm saying. LSU Florida would be a very easy CBS 7 o'clock
No, they
game.
want a game they can tease to because a lot of the country will watch Army-Navy because it's Army-Navy.
Yeah, sure. Everybody does the pageantry.
And you need to,
all good.
Yeah, you need to be able to have something to go into.
So I think the time slot was good news for that game being played. I mean, I could be wrong in 5 minutes. But when I first saw it, that was the blush I had.
No, I thought the same thing. I thought the exact same thing. I can't find those. Those lines are still not available.
You can't find
There's
them?
no Arkansas line because no one knows what Felipe Frank's status is.
Oh, is that why it's out?
That's my guess. There's no Tennessee Vanderbilt line because how in God's name could you put a line on that game?
How would you do that?
I mean, I don't know.
I've got a line. I got lines. You want?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Okay. This is.
I need Wisconsin, Iowa too, if you see it.
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's do this in order. The 4 new SEC games. You ready?
Yep.
You going to talk about them now?
Yeah, we can talk about them.
Okay. Huge line in the Ole Miss A&M game. 16 is where this one opened. Maybe 16 is where it opened.
Is it 14.5 still now, or did it go up?
Well, again, I don't have currents. I've only got opens.
Okay.
So that's the we might have to do a thing this week where we go, hey, here's the open.
Now, I found a current line on it this morning. It was 14.
Oh, did it go down?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't have that. Here, we'll do it, and then we'll run through any of those that are interesting. I've got Alabama and Arkansas opening at 31.
Okay.
Is where I have that. I have it Alabama minus 31, and then I have a total over-under of 66.5. Georgia, Missouri, I've got opening at 13. That's a huge line, by the way, in that game because Georgia can't always score.
Missouri can't defend.
And then if you're betting on this, God help you, I've got Tennessee minus 14. And who else do you need?
I need North Carolina, Miami.
I'm looking.
And I need Wisconsin, Iowa. And I need to see what do you have for Auburn, Mississippi State? Because
Auburn, Mississippi State.
That line's all over the place.
I don't have one on here for Auburn and Mississippi State, unless I'm missing it. Hold on.
The last one I saw this morning was 7.5.
I got Florida minus 23.
Yep, I got 23.5.
Florida and Miami, I've got Miami minus 3. No, it's not a great pod. I'm running through.
And I'm looking for Wisconsin, Iowa. I've got Wisconsin plus 3.
I have Iowa minus 1.
Okay. That's a weird line because I think Iowa's demonstrably better than Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin's looked pretty haggard lately.
And Navy, I've got Navy plus 5.5 at Army. That game's at West Point this year.
Yeah. First time in a long time.
Yeah.
I thought the A&M line was a little high. I'm not shocked it's double digits. 16 felt a touch. A&M is going to do a really good job, or at least if they don't, this will dictate some of the football game, at setting a rhythm on this game that Ole Miss will not be comfortable with. I feel like this is going to be such a tempo game one way or the other.
This is such a bad matchup for Ole
Miss. It's potentially Ole Miss's worst matchup of the year, frankly.
Yeah. It's the worst one they've had
since Alabama.
It's bad. It's a bad matchup. And I don't know that A&M's defense isn't better than Alabama's.
Really? I think so. They're going to run Spiller, and they're going to run Spiller, and they're going to run Spiller some more.
And they can get after the quarterback.
Their defensive line is really good. They can make you one-dimensional.
And I'm worried a little bit. Look, and I don't know what the COVID situation is, but I'm worried a little bit that Ole Miss is going to be down a player. And if you look
if it's the player we think.
Yeah, if it's the player we think, they haven't played a lot of offensive linemen this year.
I mean, so I was expecting, had you told me to guess the line, I would have guessed 12 and a half. That's kind of what I had in my head. But, I mean, 16 is not crazy off of that. We'll see. You said it went down a little. You had it at 14.
I had it 14 and a half this morning.
Okay.
Thanks to Webb. Appreciate you, buddy. We've missed you too. He says, thoughts on the downfall of LSU reminds me of Coach O at Ole Miss. Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. I've got thoughts. I watched them. I think I know what I saw.
Yeah. Bama minus 31, whatever. I will say I don't think Pittman's lost his team by any chance. They'll show up. They'll give it what they have. It's not going to be anywhere near damn enough, but I mean that's a big line though from just the standpoint of Nick's not going to run it up on Arkansas. He doesn't give a crap. So
he won't run it up on Pittman either.
Yeah.
And plus they've got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
Soon.
He'd love not a close game, but the sputter game a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
He's got to make sure he gets people off the field.
That's
he can't
true,
get
too.
somebody hurt.
Bryce Young could play some.
Yeah, well, Devontae Smith doesn't need to turn an ankle.
Yeah.
Najee Harris doesn't need a bunch of carries.
Yeah. Yeah, Georgia minus 13 is an interesting line. That's big. Missouri playing pretty well right now. Can score. The Basilak kid's pretty good.
He's good.
SEC freshman of the week
good.
this week. He's
good.
He's good.
I tell you what, those two I watched a lot of that game.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see – I saw the end of the first half and all of the second half. And what you see in those two teams is the difference that coaching makes. In much the same way that's what you see with Ole Miss.
Sure.
Arkansas is not immensely talented, really anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But they are relentless. And Mizzou's the same way. We can make fun of Drinkwitz and all that stuff. But there were a couple of moments in that game where Mizzou could have kind of let go of the rope a little bit, and that would have been that. And they didn't. They just kept fighting. And the last drive was impressive. Because Arkansas kind of scored the 2-point play on a goofy ball that should have been intercepted and ends up getting caught off a deflection. It was kind of like, whoa, man, that's going to be a crappy way to lose. And they didn't lose their cool. They just kind of kept playing. It was a great game. You hated for either one of those two teams to lose, but it also was you watch that one and then you watch LSU later in the night and you go, oh, I see something. There's an effort difference. And I realize LSU's playing Alabama and Arkansas and Missouri are not playing Alabama. They're playing one another. But there was an effort difference, and you could see it.
What is so impressive about Missouri right now is that they are just like Arkansas and Ole Miss. They have found identities for their program that match their schools so well. Where their fan bases are so excited, they're so excited. All these different things where, Missouri is kind of the nerdy chip on our shoulder a little bit. You know what I mean? I mean they can play into that. Drinkwitz has done a good job. He's kept that team together. They're
good offensively.
Here's what they're doing. It's what Ole Miss has to do to get to the next level. It's what Arkansas has to do to be middle of the road competitive or whatever you feel like their ceiling is as a program. And it's what Missouri has to do. You beat the teams you're supposed to freaking beat.
Yeah.
That is job one in any of these three schools. Leach is not doing it at State. That's becoming a downturn by the day. But the other three, I mean, you look at it. Missouri, they have done this winning streak based off the backs of the teams they're supposed to beat.
Of course.
They beat Kentucky, they beat South Carolina, they beat Arkansas, and they beat somebody else. Maybe Tennessee. I don't even remember. But
Tennessee.
They beat those teams. And then, you look at Ole Miss does. They've beaten the teams they were supposed to beat. They beat Mississippi State, they beat South Carolina, they beat Kentucky. You know what I mean? Like it beat Vanderbilt. I mean, that's step one in this process. And I give all three of those coaches, those programs credit that they have set that path forward. And you wrote it maybe in 10 Thoughts or somewhere. If you're Mississippi State, you look around right now and you go, holy shit.
Sure.
Because if those teams have passed you now, you're just screwed.
Well, yeah, because if those teams have passed them, by the way.
Yeah.
Ole Miss, Missouri, and Arkansas have all passed Mississippi State. I don't even think that's a hot take. I think that's just a statement of fact. And what those teams have done, they've also – we were talking about – there's a question here about Auburn, and Jay and I did a greatest pod in the South that actually was a lot of Auburn, to the point where I think Jay was like, I feel bad because this is not supposed to be just an Auburn show. But if you're Auburn, as you face this decision coming up in a week or less, it's one of the things you have to look at.
You think there is a decision?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No doubt. You got to look around at the landscape. You've got to do reality versus perception. And then you got to look at the landscape, and you got to look at it honestly, and that's hard to do. It's that deal where you look in the mirror and you want to kind of dim the lights a little bit and say, I don't look that fat. You don't, but yet you don't want to get on a scale. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Auburn's that's where they are right now, come Sunday morning, one way or the other. And the Mississippi State game shouldn't be the gauge.
Yeah, come on.
The gauge should be here's the deal at Auburn. I said this on G-Pits. I'll say it again today. The deal at Auburn is the perception of that fan base, whether right or wrong, good or bad, whether you agree with it or don't, from 30,000 feet. The perception of that fan base is that they should be a perennial SEC contender who is occasionally in the national race. That's their perception. Doesn't matter whether you think that's realistic, whether you, Chase Parham, thinks it's realistic, whether my boy Roy in Dubuque thinks it's realistic, whether I think it's realistic. It doesn't matter. If that's the perception of your fan base, it is your reality. Because if you don't meet that perception, they're not going to be pleased. So if you're Auburn, you got to say, where are we right now? Well, you're not there. You're not there at all. So you look at, okay, and I say this all the time when people go, well, Ole Miss. I'm like, hey, listen, Ole Miss has 6 schools to measure itself against. Alabama, Auburn, Arkansas, LSU, Texas A&M, and Mississippi State. Because for you to get to where you want to go, you got to get through them. That's an established fact. So Auburn's got to look at the same 6 teams. And when they do, they look at it and go, are we where Alabama is? Well, God, no. But Texas A&M has passed you.
Yeah.
LSU is 1 year removed from winning the whole damn thing. Now, they're a train wreck right now, but regardless, this time a year ago, LSU
There's a pelt on the wall. Yeah.
Arkansas is no longer a pushover.
You got to show up.
Frankly, Arkansas should have beaten Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss is no longer a pushover. I'm doing this from the Auburn perspective. All of a sudden, it's looking weird. And then you have to say, okay, is Arkansas on an upward path? Yes. Is Ole Miss on an upward path? There's no doubt about it. You can say, okay, well, LSU's sliding down. Yeah, okay. Mississippi State's cratering. Okay. But are you cool with being 4th or 5th? The answer is no. And do you think Gus can get you back there? And I think the consensus answer right now is I don't think so. It doesn't look like it. Mm-hmm. And once you get to that place, you have to make a change. Now, Auburn's deal is when you make that change, let's say Sunday morning you wake up and you go, that's it, you're out, Gus. Thanks for the memories. About 10 minutes later, this is no longer Gus Malzahn's issue or fault. Now you're going into a week where National Signing Day starts on Wednesday, and you basically are sacrificing a recruiting class, and you've got to go hire somebody. And who are you hiring? Who's coming in this kind of uncertain economic time? Look at what South Carolina did. One of the reasons Shane Beamer got that job is he doesn't have a buyout.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, Brian said something kind of interesting there. We'll tease that after the break, talking about floors and ceilings. We'll get into that in 1 second. Before we do, I'll tell you about Community Mortgage. Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. They're getting local underwriting and understands your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
We'll have scoreboard business assuming that there's a game, and I think there will be, at 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, evening. That's brought to you by The Rogue. It's your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylist hand-select pieces from top designers, from work to nightlife to lifestyle. There's the perfect something for everyone. The Rogue has all the best items from Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, Halsey, True Grit, Duckhead, and more. It's therogue.com, 4450 I-55 North in Jackson. We're also brought to you by Heritage Properties. Heritage Properties, home to 3 communities in Oxford, Faulkner Flats, Cambridge Station, and Lexington Point. All 3 are multifamily housing. They all offer on-site management and maintenance. They're pet-friendly, and they offer short-term leases. Faulkner Flats, located on Old Taylor Road, offers 1, 2, and 3-bedroom apartment homes, private patios or balconies, a premier 24/7 gym and tanning facility, a resort-style pool, a car wash station, and much more. You don't want to miss out on their special rates. 3 bedrooms now leasing for the price of a 2-bedroom. So contact Liv at faulknerflats.com or phone 662-234-4558. And we're brought to you by Meadowbrook Wealth Advisors of Raymond James. It's a team in Jackson providing planning and investment guidance to clients across the state and surrounding areas. Financial advisors Bill Geary, Logan Phillips, Chris Carrero, and Ryan Geary are partners with a commitment to personalized service. Call them at 601-368-2215. See if they might be a good fit for your financial goals. Raymond James and Associates, Incorporated, member New York Stock Exchange, SIPC. And we're brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan is the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com.
So, this is one for the changing times. Grind says in the thread, Auburn people hope that Ole Miss, Arkansas, and MSU's ceiling is below Auburn's floor. And there have been a time in the past where that's been the case. There's no doubt, 90s up to whatever. But
it's where this job's hard, man. It's where you got to thread a needle because that is the expectation. Yeah. Because for most of history, it's been the reality.
But the SEC Network changed things. Money changed things. Exposure changed things. We did that exercise, I don't know, a month, 2 months ago. We said, hey, what teams can win titles and be nationally relevant pretty much year over year? And you get down to the SEC, and you get pretty far down that list. We said Ole Miss is in because they've done it to some extent. They can do it again. And then, you go, okay, Carolina, whatever, this team, okay, whatever. But, for the most part, there are a lot of them.
Steve Spurrier had a 3-year run at South Carolina that tells me that, yes, you can. He
lost an SEC championship because Cam Newton was on the other sideline.
Yeah.
So that's my point is Ole Miss was in Access Bowls not too long ago. It's get backable pretty quick. I know it's not a word, but still, go with me.
Sure.
And so, yeah, there is no more floor-ceiling deal as far as my floor can't be whatever. I mean, I still remember 11 and 12 for Auburn.
But Gus cut himself on Saturday afternoon with this comment.
The 6-4 solid year thing.
Solid year.
Yeah.
So that's a solid year.
Mm-hmm.
And Auburn fans said, wait, hold up. You lost to Alabama, got blown out. You got blown out by Georgia. You put a stinker up at South Carolina and lost. And then you just got dominated in the fourth quarter by Texas A&M. You should have lost to Arkansas, and you could have lost to Ole Miss. That's not solid. In what's it for Gus, year 7?
Well,
year 8?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
They say that's not solid.
Gus's first year was 13.
Sounds right.
13. Because Chiswick's blow-up year was 12 when Ole Miss won.
So Gus has been there since 13, so 13, 14, 15. This is 8 years.
Yeah.
So they say year 8? And that's solid? I don't know. That's the deal. And that's so you start saying, okay, so who do you go get? And the reason I think Auburn should act now is that LSU's not going to act now. But if you looked at what you saw on the field Saturday with LSU, that's got train wreck written all over it.
It looks like Chiswick at the end, except by far more turmoil and poor culture and all that kind of stuff, because Gene's a pretty good dude.
So, yeah. So that deal's exploding on him.
Yeah.
But that job could be open. I don't know what Tennessee's going to do, but the consensus is that they're probably going to wait another year. That job could open.
Yeah.
Do you want to be competing with LSU and Tennessee to hire a coach?
It could be SEC silly season.
Or do you want to do it right now where the only schools that are open at this moment are, South Alabama and ULM?
Unless Texas jumps in.
Yeah, and I don't think Texas is going to jump in. Chip Brown had a great story. I'll give credit, 24/7. It's a great story.
Chip's good.
He nailed it. They were after Urban Meyer, and when Urban Meyer was like, I don't think I'm healthy enough to do this, they came back and said, it's one thing to raise $25 million. And this is where Auburn is. This is my point. It's one thing to raise $25 million to go hire Urban Meyer. It's another thing to raise $25 million to go hire who? Like, who?
And if there's not an obvious answer, then what are you doing?
You know, Jay brought up a name that I think would be a home run of a hire, but I don't know that Auburn can get him. I'm curious. Can Auburn go get Mario Cristobal? Mario Cristobal's got a good gig at Oregon, and he's on the short list of legitimate names at Alabama when and if Nick Saban ever leaves. That's what's interesting to me. It's the Auburn thing to me is a fascinating story because I've covered Auburn. I've been there, and you can win big at Auburn. You can make that son of a gun roll. You really can, and that place can get. There's a great energy there. There's a spirit and all that stuff. It's all there. But man, right now today, you got Alabama with the preeminent program in the country. You've got Georgia sitting over there. They're pretty good. That makes the job harder.
They split Georgia every year.
I mean, Tommy Tuberville went on that role against Dennis Franchione and Mike Shula. This is not Dennis Franchione or Mike Shula. Tuberville went on that role with, I guess it was Richt. It was Richt replacing, who did he replace? Ray Goff? Is that who that was?
Donnan?
Yeah, maybe Jim Donnan. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know what would be in that for Cristobal to get that gig. Like I said, you're in Alabama. I mean, Cristobal probably will be on the list at Texas.
He would. Now, look, right now, with the SEC network and the SEC exposure and the SEC commitment and all that stuff, the SEC is still the place to be. And a guy like Cristobal with all of his South Florida contacts and that kind of thing, he could do damage at a place like Auburn.
Jim Donnan, 96 to 2000. Went 40 and 19.
Yeah. That's who Tommy Tuberville went up against. Now you've got Georgia with a machine activated. And you got Alabama they got the best coach in the history of the sport. I mean, they're a machine. Watch them play Saturday night and tell me that's not the best program in the country. I'll hang up and listen. Feel free to tell me who the hell is if it's not them. Team, program, they just roll right now. And I guess at some point it slows down, but there's no sign of it.
Mm-mm. And they're doing this with a defense that's frankly good, but not great.
It's fine.
Nowhere near one of their better defenses.
But it's improved and all that stuff. But yeah, no, it's offensively they're just a machine.
Yeah,
the quarterback's really good. The wide receiver's a freak.
Like I say, glad wrote it when it did because the Blitnikoff is over. Devontae Smith, but they won the hell of a
He
game
won it with
on
that
Saturday.
catch.
Yeah,
The catch won the award.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did have 200 yards at the half.
I mean, Elijah to win the award now would have to have like 20 catches for 300 yards, maybe throw for one.
Everything touchdowns all over the place. I mean, it's over.
I don't see it.
First team All-American still in the running. Go for
sure.
that. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. But Devontae's got that one wrapped up. And look, I saw some people on the board kind of criticizing. I mean, Mac Jones had a hell of a night. His deep ball's good. I mean, he does. Look, I get wide receivers running free everywhere. I understand it, but pretty good night for Mac Jones. That was.
I watched early this year, and I was like, that dude's good.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Grind makes a great point, and he's right. Clemson has hurt Auburn a bunch.
Yeah. That's fair.
The kind of kids that used to go to Auburn are going to Clemson now. And when you're already competing like you're competing,
those two programs have traditionally been kind of the same. Auburn traditionally was a better version of Clemson. That's fair.
It's a weird deal. I don't know what's going to happen. I think Sunday's got a chance to be interesting because if you're Auburn and you're Tennessee, well, Tennessee's got to wait even another week, which is another reason I don't think they're going to do it.
Because the games.
A little bit. If you're Tennessee, well, tell me what happens with Vanderbilt on Saturday. If something weird happens and Tennessee were to lose to Vanderbilt, I don't know that they'd have any choice. And there's such a clamoring for Freeze there.
It is weird. To that level.
It's bizarre.
I get him having interest in whatever, but just to that level.
No, they want Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
They being their fans.
Sure, yeah.
Now, Phil Fulmer does not want Hugh Freeze.
Well, at the end of the day, that's the...
I guess. the end of the day,
they didn't exactly run a nice search the last time. So
at the end of the day, the money will talk.
Sure.
It always does.
When's basketball start? Wednesday?
Thursday.
Okay.
They practice for the
Thursday,
first time.
Saturday, Monday.
They practice for the first time today. There's a media op tomorrow in basketball for people who are like, where's the I've gotten some of that, where's the coverage? I'm like, dude, they've
been shut down.
They haven't done anything. There's nothing to cover. How's practice been going? It hasn't.
Does Kentucky suck?
No, but they
have no point guard and they don't shoot threes. They lost to a Georgia Tech team that's bad.
Look, their best player, B.J. Boston, could go as high as second in the draft. But his best basketball is going to happen in the NBA, not in Kentucky. And they look like a team full of AAU stars. Which is kind of what they are. It's an
equation every year, and Cal, most of the time, to his credit, figures it out.
And he might figure it out this year, but this is a different year. You didn't have a typical offseason.
You didn't go to China or Russia and play basketball in the summer.
You didn't get all that stuff. And so they have no chemistry at all. And you watch them play a veteran team that's less talented, and it shows.
Yeah.
The team that has the chemistry and the flow.
Yeah, Richmond just like running sets all over them.
Richmond just exposed them defensively in a way. It was
kind of clinical.
It was real. Yeah, I'm sure Calipari watched that film and just said, we have a ton of work to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you have enough time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what the hell that season's going to look like? I mean, seriously, who knows? So I tell people, like, what do you think basketball is going to look like? I don't know. Look at all the games that Gonzaga got canceled. Gonzaga-Baylor got canceled. Gonzaga's got 4 positives, so they're shutting down for 2 weeks or whatever.
I saw that.
How many 2-week shutdowns can you do? I mean, the one thing I feel confident saying, I'd be shocked if there's conference tournaments.
Because you don't want to mess up the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. The week before, you go, hey, let's not do this big bubble thing and see what happens. He didn't kind of play a role, Hunter. He was the head of the committee.
But that wasn't his move.
It was Glenn's move.
Yeah.
No. I'm not putting all that on Archie.
I mean, I don't want to go too far down this road because you start getting into stuff that I don't really feel like getting into. But I think
here's the thing too. From a standpoint of 2012, it worked.
It did.
You didn't know that was going to turn into what it turned into.
I think Archie probably had more of an eye on the AD job at the time.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
And then that deal kind of changed a little bit. Official representation of me throwing blocks at anyone defending Gus.
Yeah, we're not the soft verbal, but I mean, obviously recruiting is a story right now.
Yeah, sure.
Ole Miss got a bunch of dudes over the weekend. I think it's going to be a busy week. I don't think it's over yet.
No, they're generally getting all of their targets. It's almost like they had a plan and executed it.
Guys with a good offer sheet, which I think is, especially in this Frankenstein of a year, probably the way to look at everything is offer sheets. Who else likes this guy? I think offer sheets are always kind of underplayed compared to recruiting rankings, say that working for a recruiting site. But
this year especially.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's been no evaluation. Look at what other coaches like these dudes and dictate your opinions off that.
I mean, here's where I'll defend some people at Rivals, though. Look, there might be some staffing issues where we don't have enough staff. That's a corporate issue that I have no insight into. But I know for a fact that the Chad Simmonses of the world have gotten in their cars and driven all over the place.
Chad's been working like a son
throughout this pandemic. And, I mean, I can't even imagine how many masks he's got floating around in his car. And they've done interviews, and Sam Spiegelman's done that. Like Sam Spiegelman, I joked around about it, but he was at Ruston High's game the other night because they have that 4-star running back there. They are getting out to games and stuff, but when you can't do rankings the way they're used to doing rankings, like for example, they're going to the Mississippi-Alabama All-Star thingy this week.
Yeah.
But you can't have any in-person contact. You can film, but from the stands. You cannot talk in person to a player or a coach. You can arrange telephone interviews. So, yes, is the evaluation of those players from Mississippi and Alabama going to be as good as it was in years past? Of course not. Is the coverage going to be as good? Of course not. Whose fault is that? I mean, I guess nobody's, but it's not Rivals' fault.
It's almost impossible for him.
And so Rivals is used to having the big 5-star
Challenge
thing, and they bring all the players to Florida or San Antonio or whatever, and they go to both, and they evaluate at all these places, and they cover the game, and they talk to all the kids, and you really get insight.
All the regional camps.
You don't get all that this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, it falls off.
Yeah. Offer sheets.
So you look at offer sheets.
And
I can tell you, because I get the emails every morning, Rivals works really, really hard to verify offers. I get emails every morning, hey, hearing Ole Miss offered this kid 23, 24, 25, whatever. Can you verify? I get those all the time. So everybody else is getting them too. They are trying. It's impossible. Sean Jones says, are y'all hearing anything on Malik McCain? I've not heard that name. That doesn't mean anything. I'll ask Zach, but I've not heard that name in conversations that I've had. I've had conversations with people about wide receivers, and his name is not one that has come up. I mean, they can only take 26 guys to scholarships.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, they can sign 26 guys. So you do get to a point where the numbers work themselves out, but it is a speaking of ceilings and floors, there is a ceiling. And I don't know that they want to use them all. I know that they want to leave some roster.
Got some maneuvering to do eventually.
Yeah, they want to leave some roster room because there are grad transfers and such that they want to get up to.
Yeah, sure. Podcast brought to you in part by Visit Oxford, visitoxfordms.com. Santa will be at Visit Oxford. They're on the square December 12th and December 19th. You can go get pictures there. You go to the events page and see everything going on, including Holly Jolly Holiday this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's the skating, the carriage rides, the hot chocolate, the desserts, and more. Make sure you are there about 10 minutes for your time when you sign up. Again, you can go to Visit Oxford, visitoxfordms.com/events to see all the different options for events. You can still sign up for times. There are a few spots available for that. And if you have a spot, December 9th is the deadline for making changes to your reservation because you do have to, with everything going on, make reservations for these things. Skates are included with this. You don't have to bring your own skates. Don't worry about that. They will put you in that. But 30-minute reservation times, and just obviously social distancing and mask and whatnot in effect for this. So visit oxfordms.com.
Oxford Park Commission wants you back on the court. They're currently signing up leagues for the 2021 youth basketball season. They serve both boys and girls, ages 5 to 15. The cost to play is $50 per child. There are discounts available for multiple players from the same family. The deadline to sign up is December 13th, so visit oxfordparkcommission.com to register. A perfect gift for Christmas, by the way, is signing up your kid to play youth soccer with the Oxford Park Commission. That registration goes through the 20th. The cost is also $50. They're doing birth years between 2007 and 2016, so sign up today at oxfordparkcommission.com. With cold weather upon us, now's a great time to start preparing for it. Nobody wants to come home and find out their heating system isn't working. Our friends over at Comer Heating and Air have you covered. Comer Heating and Air is the name you can trust. It brings more than 50 years of professional HVAC experience to Oxford, Tupelo, and the surrounding area. Comer Heating and Air is offering a special fall preventative maintenance agreement to make sure your heating system is running in tip-top shape. Make sure to call Comer Heating and Air at 662-801-1777 for all your heating and cooling needs. That's Comer Heating and Air, 662-801-1777. It's getting pretty obvious at this point. Christmas right around the corner. You can avoid the last-minute holiday scramble this year. Let the folks over at Blue Delta Jeans make your holiday gifting simple. Visit their site, bluedeltajeans.com, or stop by the Oxford studio to purchase your loved ones a gift card for a pair of bespoke Mississippi-made jeans. Every gift card for the full value of a jean will receive a signed copy of Wright Thompson's newly released Pappyland. It's the story of Julian Van Winkle III, the third-generation head of a little whiskey brand known as Pappy Van Winkle. Signed copies of Pappyland are limited, so don't wait. Also, don't forget that Blue Delta is here for your holiday gifting at work as well. No matter the number of people in your company, give Blue Delta a call to inquire about bringing Blue Delta jeans to your office for the best holiday gift there is. Also, that's it. Don't forget about Dead Soxy. You can go to deadsoxy.com. It's DEADSOXY.com. Enter promo code HOLIDAYPRO and get 35% off if you're looking for a stocking stuffer as you wrap up your Christmas shopping.
Here, just saw Dick Allen died, former baseball player.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I think he was with the White Sox pretty much his whole career. 15 years. Yeah, anyway, 63 to 77 there for him. How obviously classmates and everything. How Carolina take the end of that game on Friday night? That was pretty rough.
That was tough.
Yeah,
that's tough. About as tough as it is to.
I mean,
that was tough. A lot of tears. Sure, those are her friends.
Hell of a high school football game.
Hell of a game. Yeah, it was a great game. It really was.
The kid for Oak Grove fitting that ball through that window on the 2-point conversion was pretty impressive.
Across his body,
across
the field.
It's a hell of a throw.
Because the Oxford kid recovered and got the coverage where the throw's not perfect. It's incomplete.
Yeah.
It's just sick. You're sick. We were sick.
It's one of the ones you replay in your head.
Yeah. I mean, I had a hard time going to sleep.
Yeah.
And I wasn't invested in it. I mean.
Well, you are because you're kids.
Yeah. I know those kids. I know a lot of those kids. I was sick for those kids. And it was a great game. They played really hard. And I'm sure that Chris Cutcliffe has questioned whether he should have kicked. It was a 4th and 1, about the 16-yard line. He's got a kicker that can make that kick in his sleep. Would have put him up 10. He went for the kill on 4th and 1.
And didn't get it.
And he didn't get it. And then
because they probably make that kick. I mean, yeah. Jack's going to make that most of the
Jack
time.
makes that kick 9.5 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
And then I'll give credit to the Oak Grove coach because I think his decision to go for 2 was twofold. One, it was one play, let's do it. And 2, on the previous extra point, their kicker, it was real shaky.
Well, and that's a huge deal, too, because especially in high school where they go from the 10 in overtime, if that's what you get to, having the worst kicker is a huge deal because you're going to score almost every time. So then it becomes, hey, we can miss a freaking kick, and Tannehill's probably not missing an extra point. So we've got problems here from that standpoint.
But I think as a coach, you don't want to run your kicker out there, and he misses an extra point.
And that's what does it.
And that's
yeah.
Rather than hang that on him, let's do this a team way.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to win as a team or lose as a team right here.
Yeah. I don't hate it.
It takes a big pair.
Yeah.
And then to call that play, because Oxford was clearly looking for the flood the zone, and they had it covered. And he turns back, and I saw him crossing. I saw it. We were watching on Laura's phone.
Okay.
And I saw him crossing, and I was like, oh, God.
There's a guy.
Yeah. And then, and when he turned and threw it, it was, oh.
I mean, yeah, it was tough. South went 5-1. Louisville was the only north win for Mississippi over the weekend.
Yeah,
South went 5-1. They won all 3 games on Friday, and then they went 2-1 on Saturday with, I guess, one of the big upsets. West Jones beating West Point. From a program standpoint, I have no idea how good those teams are, but
I was just happy for all the kids that they got to play.
I got to finish it.
You want to finish your season.
Yeah.
Your season is meant to.
Well, that's what was sick about Lafayette. I mean, look, I don't think they're winning a state title, but at the same time, their playoff hopes are dashed in the middle of the week. I mean.
Yeah, your high school season, when you make the playoffs, is supposed to either end celebrating or commiserating, but with your team. Not in a cafeteria.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to the people that let it happen.
Sure. As of now, everything's still on for her? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, have
they gotten reassurance at all?
Well, no one said anything otherwise. And this week, show you how serious they are. This is why I get pissed off at people when they act like it's no big deal when kids don't get to do things that they've worked their asses off for. And I could show people videos of how hard they've worked, but I won't. And by the way, I put that video in the YouTube stream so that I could put it in 10 thoughts. Before people think that's what I was doing, there was a reason to that.
Yeah.
Anyway, this week in classes where the space is too crammed and you are within 6 feet, they're sitting out in the hallway so that they won't be within 6 feet.
Gotcha. That's fair.
Yeah, Kenneth, should we expect more? Yes, you should expect more commitments this week. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. This is not to sound mean here, but we're going to put recruiting pretty much behind a paywall. We're not going to break it down day in and day out on this podcast. We're just not. We never have, because it's how do I say this, Chase? It's still somewhat of a fringe. It's not fringe, but it's
still a niche.
It's still niche, and we don't want to turn it into a recruiting show. We have a recruiting show. But yeah, our admin has multiple stories ready to go on multiple guys, because I keep making sure I don't accidentally hit them.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Yeah.
I am really glad we can get the Altmaier ones out of the system. That was a big day to get the Luke Altmaier stuff from the admin to the front page.
I was glad Luke Altmaier to make a decision and get on out of the admin, because that story where it was positioned, I had almost hit it about 30 times.
You'd found out really quickly had you hit it.
Oh yeah,
it would have been pretty quick on. Hey, probably not. Yeah. I think so.
We got multiple guys in there.
I guess this is known. Deion Smith just tweeted he is signing, or earlier today tweeted he's signing December 16th. Sorry, Shea Hodge just retweeted it. Is why I saw it in my feed.
He's committed to LSU, but Ole Miss is big time in it.
Yeah.
No, and it's we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 commitment stories sitting in admin right now. Yeah. Including one that I haven't edited yet.
I didn't know it was 5. Okay.
Yeah, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 8 things in admin right now that are not published, which makes me nervous.
You do have to go down a little ways then. Yeah, that's chaos when you're getting links and stuff.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot of potential disaster right there. And we have that automatic refresh thing that'll move it, and you can that's my point.
Okay.
I can't tell you how many times I almost hit the Altmaier thing because it was right above what I was publishing.
Because things have
because I had the refresh as I was doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. Don't want to do that because that'll set off a
I didn't see this morning. Police arrested a man on Monday. They say broke into a mansion owned by New England. He's not the New England Patriots quarterback. This is fresh. AP screwed up. Tom Brady. They still called him the Patriots quarterback in the AP story. Brady and Giselle's. Well, no shit. They won 45-0 yesterday.
They did.
Made himself comfortable on a couch while no one else was home. Police in Brookline, just outside Boston, responded to the home around 6 a.m. After a security camera monitoring the home reported that alarms had gone off in the house. They saw an intruder in the house on security camera. The man was found lying on a couch in the basement, police said. No one was home, blah, 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 blah. 34-year-old man, his name was not released. So, anyway. Little news there. We'll obviously do...
So people are asking about rankings.
Yep.
And I honestly just don't know. Like, I haven't... We'll look and see where Ole Miss is right now. As of this moment, Ole Miss is 51st. They've got the Iton kid's not ranked, so he's a 0-star.
Yeah.
And they've got, I guess the kickers are, I don't know. I haven't studied it. You're obviously going to move up a bunch. How much, I don't know.
You move up a ton until you get 20 commits, and then it starts becoming net instead of gross. So what are they at right now?
51.
No, I mean, how many commits?
16.
So they get 4 gross commits, like all the rankings points that go into kids. And then once you get to 20, you have to drop somebody to add somebody, so it's only a net difference at that point. So the really big jumps are the next 4 kids.
Rutgers is 29th.
Are they?
Yeah, Ruston.
Huh. I mean, it's really confusing.
How the hell is Vanderbilt 28th?
click on it. I don't know.
They have 20. Some of it is just numbers.
They bring in a hall. Got a big class coming.
Just a bunch of 5'7", 5'7", 5'8", 5'5", 5'5", 5'8", 5'7", 5'6", 5'5", 5'6", 5'5", 5'5", 5'6".
Oh, so bad.
Yeah. That's the other thing. Is it just, I don't know. They got some dudes.
Well, somebody said, and I get it's a little different group of five. Somebody said when Will took the job, Southern Miss had 0 commits.
Is that right?
Yeah. That's what somebody said.
They did commit.
And they're getting Ty Keys.
They did commit a lot more money for assistant coaches.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Will's getting $800 a year.
Oh, that's higher than I expected.
Yeah, and then they
were paying Hobson $550 or $6, I think, something like that.
They upped the pool from 1.2 to 2.1.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah, so that's a lot of money for him to work with. He can put together an okay staff like that. Yeah, Jamon Gordon's not ranked yet, so that's another. Yeah, I mean those are guys that. I mean, Iton, based off his offer list, should be a 4-star. But I don't know how that works. I mean, I'm not defending rivals here, but they didn't have a season. So what are you evaluating? It's kind of hard. You're evaluating junior college players as junior college players, but they haven't had a season.
Are those kids going to play in the spring? Because you're talking about body.
Well, he's not.
Well, I know, but some of them, I mean, are we talking about?
I guess. If I'm a JUCO kid and I've got offers that are legitimate.
If I'm a college, I don't – really?
Right.
9 games in the spring instead of being with me, or just sitting on your tail and working out on your own instead of beating your body up to play 2 seasons over the course of 1 calendar year? No, hell no.
I know.
That'd be a non-starter. So, yeah.
I've always thought that was punting. That if you said, hey, we're going to play in the spring, what that really means is we're not playing, but we're not going to say that yet. Okay. Which, to me, sucks.
Well, that does suck. Podcast brought to you in part by Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy. Immune Support Med Packs available. That's pharmacist-developed combinations of vitamin supplements specifically designed to boost your immune system. Vitamin C, zinc, NAC, probiotic, and vitamin D3. You can get those at both locations. To find out more, 662-236-2222. They also deliver locally in the Oxford area. They offer MedSync to fill your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you with just one trip, whether it be pickup or delivery. And with Right Way Meds, they individually package your medication if that is something that can help you as you move forward with your medication. So again, 662-236-2222.
We'll have picks up on Thursday. That's one of the stories that's in admin right now because that one takes a little effort over the course of a week. It's brought to you by the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel Shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, the College Corner is next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, it's not a problem. You can visit the College Corner at collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. We are also brought to you by our friends at Pinnacle Trust. At Pinnacle Trust, decisions are made based on detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. Those decisions are made by treating investing like a commodity, not just fitting you into some box. They sit down and listen to you. They study your goals. They study your expenses. They look at what your retirement dreams are, and then they put together a plan that's built just for you. It's pintrust.com, PINN trust.com. I mentioned that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You get 10% off your first year's fee. Also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you've been thinking about planning a big trip for the summer, maybe you're saying, hey, the vaccine's going to be done. We're going to cut loose, fancy-free, and we're going to enjoy it. Now's a great time to, if you're willing to gamble a little bit, now's the best time to book that because you can get deals today that you could never get before and you might never be able to get again. All you got to do is get in touch with John, give him some parameters, give him a budget, give him an idea of what it is that you'd like to do, and he'll get back to you. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. Also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, That money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with the personal touch. When you call OUB, you speak directly with a live person. No 10 buttons to push, no 5 minutes to wait. To learn more, go to liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. And brought to you by Meadowbrook Wealth Advisors of Raymond James, a team in Jackson providing planning and investment guidance to clients across the state and surrounding areas. Financial advisors Bill Geary, Logan Phillips, Chris Carrero, and Ryan Geary are partners with a commitment to personalized service. Call them at 601-368-2215. See if they might be a good fit for your financial goals. Raymond James and Associates Incorporated, member New York Stock Exchange, SIPC.
Where's Lebitard going to show back up at? What's his deal?
I don't know.
You know, like Spotify or something? Some sort of podcast?
Yeah, that's my guess. He'll do something where he's not under that watchful.
Beholden to the FCC.
Yeah, well, and beholden to ESPN.
Well, that's for sure.
I love his show. I know a lot of people don't.
I mean, a lot do because of his ratings, obviously.
I mean, I love his show.
You have to want that type of programming, but
yeah, you got it's if
it's not your hardcore sports.
If you want the hardcore, let's break down last night in the NBA, that's never going to be your show. But I don't know how many people there are that want that.
It was interesting. I saw, I don't know who it was, maybe in Ralph Russo with the AP, had tweeted about it going, hey, it really, basically Lebitard was one of the things that helped them through this year. I mean, just listening every day and laughing and the stuff they did. And it turned into a really good Twitter conversation, though, on the number of people that went, oh, yeah, it was fantastic, and other people that go, I didn't get it. And, like, they weren't mad. It wasn't like a frustration. It was, I don't get it. It doesn't do it for me. And it was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and not in a hostile or malicious way, but
sure.
just pretty interesting. Matt Nagy said today that he maintains the backing of upper management despite the team's current 6-game losing streak.
Never heard of
him.
He
feels very good about things.
Never heard of him.
They're only the 10th seed in the NFC. I mean, they right a couple wins, and I mean, get right back in that thing at 9-7. Try to sneak a
Anybody else having some audio issues? I'm struggling.
We have really good communication, he said.
Who?
Yeah.
Who said?
Visor guy that shouldn't be wearing a visor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, never heard of him. What's Trubisky doing right? You don't get me wrong, it doesn't matter. But the one thing you can't do on that play is fumble the ball. Throw it away? Sure. Take a sack? Probably not. Fumble? No.
Saints ran into that a little bit. They were up 12, trying to go up 15. Just kicked the field goal in the midway through the fourth quarter, and Taysom Hill fumbled. Mm-hmm. Falcons get it, score, force a punt, get it, and almost score. They threw a ball into the end zone on the last play. A Hail Mary that hung on people's fingertips forever. There was never real danger of the Falcons catching it. Did you see it?
Yeah.
The last play?
Yeah.
But they didn't do anything to knock it down. They were all trying to pick it. And
it turns out that meant that they couldn't have another play.
That's a good point.
There was 1 second. Had there been 2 seconds, they would have had another shot at it.
Yeah, but I don't think they knew that at the time. And in your mind, you're going to just knock the stupid thing down. Because, I mean, look, when one team has Julio and Calvin Ridley, you don't want a Hail Mary. There's lots of athleticism there for the Falcons to do stuff because – I mean, Matt Ryan wasn't overly good yesterday, but by God, his receivers kept them in that football game at times.
I'll tell you what was a really good game yesterday. An interesting contest. No jokes. I watched the New York Giants and the Seattle Seahawks pretty much start to finish by accident.
Yeah.
You got to give Joe Judge a ton of credit.
He's done a hell of a job.
He's done a hell of a job. I mean, they went out there with Colt McCoy yesterday. And a couple of running backs. Evan Ingram made some big plays. McCoy made some big plays.
Their defense really well.
The Coughlin, number 49, I assume he's related to Tom Coughlin in some form, shape, or fashion. Their defense made plays, created turnovers, did a good job on DK Metcalf. Not a great job because it's impossible to just stop him. But they They didn't let the Seahawks get rolling. They put a lot of pressure on Wilson, and you watched that and you went, wow.
They're not going to make a run, but in the right thing, they could be a pain in the ass in that 2-7 game.
You do.
Oh, no, they're a 4 seed.
You do wonder, are they a year ahead of themselves? Should they be like, hey, we don't need to be doing this. This is great, but we don't need to be doing this.
Because we're only paying
right
attention
now.
because of how bad the division is. You know what I mean? If they were doing this where the Eagles are 11-5 or something, we're going, y'all idiots. What are you doing?
What are you doing? Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, they're still putting wins together. And
because they're not winning the NFC. I mean,
but I think they're going to win the NFC East.
They are, yeah.
And they're like, you guys should not be winning right now. That's like people are criticizing the Jets. When the Jets realized, oh, my God, we're about to win today.
Blew a coverage.
They're like, no, hey. I mean, someone was like lighting up the bat phone. No.
He's going to be wide open on this play, guys.
Listen, what are we supposed to do here? Drop 8? We're rushing 10.
All out blitz. The Raiders had no timeouts left, and the Jets went all out blitz.
They threw the game.
Yeah. There was no safety valve.
Derek Carr was like, I couldn't believe it. I was so glad they brought pressure.
They wanted you to win, bud.
Yeah, Derek, they were throwing you the game.
Throw the ball to him. Catch it.
I mean, that was a fix.
They celebrated the loss.
Wow. And then why you fire the coordinator today? Is that part of the cover?
That's just stupid.
I mean, but is it?
I don't know. By the way, I mean, we'll get into the playoff picture tomorrow because we always do on Tuesday. It would be a rematch in the first round as of right now. Giants at home against the Seahawks. Would be a first-round game today.
Seahawks they'd take that.
Well, anybody would take that as a wild card, getting that.
Most
likely they play the Seahawks or the Rams in the first round.
I'll give the Giants a ton of credit, though. I mean, like, you have a tendency to view a team in its entirety, and you look back at the beginning of the season when they couldn't win a game.
Sure.
Today, right now, they're not bad. Like
they're limited, but
they lost to the Bears early. They would beat the Bears today. And then the other team, and I'm going to tell you the other team that we did it to early in the year, Cleveland had a couple of rough games. And yesterday in the first half, they destroyed the Titans.
And I know that the rough games are why this stat should be taken with a grain of salt. So let me say that. But let me find this. Here's where I'm worried about Cleveland. They're 9-3, okay? 6 games over 500, okay?
Okay.
Their point differential, -15.
Yeah. Well, like they almost...
That's some borrowed time right there. That's an odd swallow, considering they're 2 games ahead of the Ravens in the division, and the Ravens are +68, plus-minus.
How did my tweet about the ULM job lead to a legitimate argument between other people about it was clearly a joke, right? I mean, people understood.
There was a legitimate argument? Come on.
People are having an argument right now about whether ULM could be able to do this, what should they be able to do, the money. Like Bruce Feldman, when I tried to make a joke back at Bruce, he was like, well, I was there, and I can tell you. I was like, whoa, Bruce.
We're kidding over here, guys.
It's satire, bud. Hang on.
The Falcons have a +9 differential at 4-8. Kind of interesting.
Well, they've had some painful losses.
They have, and they won a game like 42-7 or something against the Raiders.
Well, they blew that game to the Bears. That was when you knew their season was over.
Oh, that's right.
That was done.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Kansas City is really good, but they're more gettable this year than they were a year ago.
No, they're gettable. Denver is not a good football team, and they played with them all night last night.
Locke's not a bad quarterback.
Look, we're still just sleeping on Pittsburgh sitting there at 11-0. They haven't lost.
I know. To my son's credit, Carson said, hey, Dad, the Steelers are good. And I was like, whatever. He goes, they're 11-0. That's what he said. You know, they're 11-0. Kind of like, they've played 11 times. They've won 11. What do you expect them to do?
Plus 129 in differential. Tops in
they're
the
kicking
league.
people's asses.
There's nothing about them that's overly sexy. Like, you don't, whatever, but.
Good quarterback.
Yeah.
Good running back. Great
receivers, yeah.
Great defense, and they have some playmakers.
Yeah.
And he's been there for, how long has Tomlin been there? 1,000 years?
He replaced Cowher, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of continuity there.
It just, in a normal year, they would be getting more pub than they are. I feel like we're just, like, even nationally, nobody's really talking about them for the most part. Everybody's liking the other stuff that's sort of surrounding the NFL right now. He's been there since 2007.
Yeah.
So Tomlin's in his 14th season.
14th season. A lot of continuity.
I mean, am I forgetting somebody off the top of my head? I mean, is that the longest tenured guy along with Peyton? Peyton's 06, I think. Yeah. I would think everybody else has pretty much turned over since then.
Yeah. That's what kind of struck me a little bit about Judge yesterday as I was watching that, and I was kind of thinking to myself, because Carroll's on that other sideline who's been there forever, and I thought Judge seems like the kind of guy that's going to be in New York for a long time.
Oh, really?
So what struck me yesterday watching that, it was just kind of I'd finished my Peloton ride. I'd finished 10 Thoughts. I turned it on, and like I said, I was going to accidentally watch it. And it kind of got good.
Bill Belichick 2000. Sorry. Everybody.
Oh, yeah. Duh.
Sorry, I had a minute. But look at this. 32 jobs. 2020, 2018, 2019, 2010, Pete Carroll. 17, 07, Tomlin. 16, 19, 20, 6, Peyton. 2000, Belichick. 14, Mike Zimmer. Zimmer is the fifth longest tenured coach in the league in 2014. 19, 17, 17, 18. Sorry, 6. Andy Reid, 2013. But yeah, only like 6 dudes have been there longer than 6-7 years.
I know we're jumping around, but it's that part of the podcast. Yeah. David Russell says, I think Le Batard ends up at Barstool. You could be right. The only thing that I would be interested in, would Le Batard get offended at some of the conservative thought that's at Barstool?
But they allow the liberal too.
Oh, sure, but
yeah, he's got to be the one that's cool.
He's got to be. That's why I said, will he be okay with it?
Also, is he? I mean, I know he can do it from anywhere, but he's not moving to New York. And
no, but they'd let him do it from Miami.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sure they'd love that platform.
Yeah, of course. I think he would be far enough away from dealing with them every day that surely to God, if that's the best financial and production for him.
And I think they'd let him roll.
That's what I'm saying. No, they would absolutely.
Yeah.
But my point is, he wouldn't have to go sit in the recliner with Brandon Walker for 8 hours a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's different when you're not like in their headquarters doing all their stuff.
Sure. Well, so much of Barstool stuff is gambling.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I still expected some sort of Bill Simmons type Spotify thing, something along those lines. It's kind of what I had in my head. But, I mean, I know nothing.
Well, I mean, Rogan's making a lot of noise again.
He is.
I mean, love him or hate him, it's up to you, but that podcast is getting numbers.
Well, it's always getting numbers.
But, I mean, it's getting real numbers right now. Like, people are listening to him. It's a weird deal. Did you read that story about Patrick Willis?
I did. Yeah, I saw that.
Wasn't that fascinating?
Just a good, interesting dude. You know what I mean? Like,
he is.
Got a lot of different hobbies, a lot of different interests.
That story sent me back down that rabbit hole because that game happened.
He was in the Dwight Clark game.
Yeah. The Dwight Clark game happened on my 12th birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Right about the time that's those years where you either become a really big-time sports fan or you start to find other interests.
Mm-hmm.
And those 82, 83, 84, I mean, stuff happened that, like, cemented sports interest for me.
You have one game from your childhood that sticks out?
That's one of them.
Is it?
NC State beating Houston in the national championship game.
Yeah.
Valvano running around. I remember that game vividly. I wrote a little bit about this because that game sent me down this rabbit hole because I hated the Cowboys. Because the Cowboys won Super Bowl, was that 12? Over Denver. And it was the years, like late 70s, and my uncle lived in Denver, and we went there for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And the Broncos were really good that year. And so we were there when they had all the Orange Crush T-shirts and all that stuff. And so I kind of started cheering for Denver for a little while. And I had the flu sitting at home watching the Super Bowl, and Dallas breaks my heart. It was like the first heartbreaking sports game that I can remember. You know, I was like truly upset about an outcome of a sporting event. And so, and all my friends, of course, in North Louisiana loved the Cowboys, and I just hated them. From that point forward, just hated the Cowboys. Still have this weird dislike for them today. But so when the Niners started getting good, that game meant something to me because I wasn't a Niner fan necessarily, but I remember Montana. And
it was anti-Cowboy.
And it was anti-Cowboy, but Montana was, you know, kind of cool, and you could see them coming, and I had the 49ers jersey and all that stuff, and they won that game, and all my friends shut up. And that was kind of if you think about it, that was kind of the end of that Dallas dynasty. That was before your time.
Yeah.
But back then.
They had a pause, though, until Jimmy.
Yeah, back then with Staubach and Too Tall Jones and Harvey Martin and D.D. Lewis and Charlie Waters and Tony Dorsett, and Drew Pearson, and who was the tight end? Cunningham, I think was his name. They were good, man. And you'd watch them every Sunday, and I would cheer for the St. Louis Cardinals, the football team. I would cheer for the New York Giants. I would cheer for the Redskins. I would cheer for whoever was playing them, and just like the Eagles, I would cheer for all those teams. I just hated them. And then to see somebody beat them was awesome. I remember that game vividly, being so excited at that play.
And it's kind of nice for you to you could bounce around like that. You weren't beholden as a kid to that one team where it was like you're just dealing with absolute heartache and misery.
Yeah.
Or
well,
whatever.
I mean, I tried to stay a Broncos fan, but this was before League Pass. You know what I mean? I mean, you couldn't see the Broncos every week. And so the teams that I saw every week were the Saints and the Cowboys. And the Saints were awful. They were awful. It was Archie Manning and just nothing. And so then there were the Cowboys, and everybody liked the Cowboys, and I just didn't.
Well, I mean, you know, and the years that you're talking about for me were the early 90s, and I was a Braves fan, I was a Saints fan, and I just saw one playoff loss after another playoff loss after another playoff loss. Because the Saints were pretty good with the Dome Patrol and that whole early 90s dude, and they just lost wild card game after wild card game after wild card game. Because the Saints as a franchise didn't win a playoff game until 2000 when Oz Hakeem dropped the ball. So, I mean, you're watching the Eagles and the Bears and the Falcons just beat the hell out of them in playoff games, and then the Braves, I mean, Lonnie Smith not sliding in Game 7 of the World Series will haunt me for the rest of my life. To the point of when they finally won it in 95, you're almost kind of like, whatever. You guys have lost so many. Like, sure.
Yeah.
My 12-year-old self was not overly impressed at that point.
Really?
Yeah, I was kind of like, great, but all right. You're kicking me in the teeth. In 94, you're going to have no shot because the Expos are running away with everything anyway. So it was,
Yeah. 84 was as exciting a baseball season as I can remember. 85 was as disappointing of a baseball season as I can remember. But by then I was sucked in. There was no turning back. But I could watch the Cubs every day. It's hard when you're growing up and when you're subject to. Hey, no one can get how big of a deal. Older people in our thread can. Monday Night Football was a big deal when I was a kid. Because on Sunday, you just got the Saints and the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. And every once in a while, you'd get another game. But you got Saints, Cowboys, and on Monday night, that's when you get to see the Dolphins or the Bears or the Raiders or the Colts or whatever. We'd get some Colts stuff in North Louisiana because Burt Jones was the Colts quarterback. And I tried them on for size when I was about 8 or 9, but they lost that game against the Raiders, the double overtime game, and that was kind of the end of that.
Well, I think my worst one at that age was the Saints playoff game in 92, I think. They played the Eagles, and the Saints couldn't ever get away and win. Like, they weren't winning divisions for the most part. They were just really good, and they always had really good records, but the damn 49ers were winning it 14-2 and 13-3 every year. And they played the Eagles in a wild card game, even though they're going 12-4 in the regular season. And they had like a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter and gave up like 26 points unanswered in the fourth quarter against Randall Cunningham and the Eagles. and just devastated. Like, that was the one where, like, right there was the one Saints moment where it was like, you might just give it away right here. Like, that garnet and gold or whatever for the 49ers isn't too bad. We can probably wear that. Be all right. We'll maybe do that. But, yeah, it was a long road until 2000 when they finally they get the one win and then just get hammered the next week by, I think, the Vikings. Is that right? 2000?
I can't remember.
Divisional championship?
Yeah.
Divisional round game?
I think that's right.
Yeah, I think that's correct, if I have that correct. So, anyway, rebelgrove.com, a lot of recruiting threads right now. If you have any interest at all, that's the place to jump on over because you can find a topic on pretty much any recruiter, any topic right now. People are pretty invested, pretty excited.
Yeah,
so take advantage of that.
There's a lot of recruiting interest. It's there.
Basketball starts on Thursday, so we'll have whatever coverage of games as they happen, and then hopefully Ole Miss and A&M 7 o'clock Saturday night from Kyle Field in College Station. For that one, we'll be with you with Scoreboard Business as long as nothing changes at 5 o'clock, and then run through into sometime probably just after the clock hits midnight into Sunday morning. So we'll have more as the week moves on this here podcast.
By the way, someone makes a point, David Russell does. He says, Neal, it's a great question. It's one that I've asked myself a lot. How do y'all only have 3,500 YouTube subscribers? I need to start pushing it more. You're exactly right, David. Couldn't agree with you more. Please hit the subscribe button in the event that you haven't already. Hit the little bell for notifications, but it's free. Hit that button for us.
Yeah, we made a decision kind of a long time ago. We weren't going to bug you guys in the middle of every show because we're daily on, hey, like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. But the YouTube is one where it would help us with multiple avenues. So, it's subscribe, hit the bell. It will help you as well because you'll be able to know as soon as we go live each day. So, appreciate everybody in the live stream. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.